When it's really cold in here, like it is now, the mushrooms don't grow as fast. So this is a way to control. Yeah, so today we are picking lion's mane for one of our clients. They made like a special order where they want the mushroom to be bigger than a ping pong ball, but still a little smaller than a tennis ball. So we got a special order for that, and we're just picking the mushrooms we need for that order. What we figured is we are actually able to pick some of the lion's mane mushrooms from the block and then letting the other grow out. That really doesn't matter that much with the quality. So for example, if you see here, you can see this part of the mushroom is not fully developed, but this part is much more developed. So we can actually just pick this part and then let the other part grow out again. We did some tests with it, and we don't lose yield, it seems, on it. So I think it's very interesting to grow the bags this way. We started testing another way of growing it. I can show you that in a minute. But basically, we're just picking all these mushrooms. We are growing with wood. So hardwood is in the bags. And we figured that a lot of the other growers in Denmark, for example, they have been growing these bags and then they just do one harvest and then they throw it all away because they are really afraid of contamination risks and all those things. The setup we made with this container, as you saw in the other video probably, it is set up in a way so all the contamination risk will go down here and then hopefully spread out because we are keeping the airflow one way through the container. So hopefully we can manage to keep out all pests and molds doing it this way, and then we could harvest up to maybe 4 times on each bag, because after we've harvested on the bag, there's still a lot of energy inside it, and the mushroom are still very, very potent. So we are really trying to see how many times we can harvest and it still be a good product, so we get the most out of our resources. The story is started growing mushrooms almost 2 years ago now, and we have been growing oyster mushrooms for that time. It took us 1 year to really perfect the oyster mushroom, and as you see here, this is the second flush, so this is the second harvest we are getting on the bags. Started doing some tests with some king oysters, and the mycelium has been laying on cool for like a year, so we were just testing how would the mushroom grow if the mycelium would be very old, and as you see here, you started getting these gene formations inside the mushrooms, so that's very, very interesting to see how that unfolds. But we are definitely not going to work with this mushroom anymore. We're going to get some fresh spawn and then we're going to do some new tests on the king oysters. Yeah, so you see here, this is really, really nice lion's mane. This is second harvest we did on the bags. We figured the second harvest is more potent than the first harvest. So it's really, really a bad idea to just throw out the bags after you just harvested one time on it. Great, so I want to show you a test we are doing now. So we took the bag and instead of opening it in the side, we just opened the top, and it shows really promising results because we can see here there's a lot of mushroom growth. So it's still growing, but I think we're going to harvest maybe 300, 400 grams on the top of this bag, and then we're going to close it down and then we're going to open it in the sides. So we saw other mushroom growers do this and we started testing it, and it's probably going to work for us as well in this climate with this recipe inside the bag. So really interesting. I'm going to update you on this as well if we're going to be able to get more yield out of the bag doing it this way. The oyster mushrooms you see here, we're starting getting some decent yields. This container in here is not heated at all, so the mushrooms are growing a bit slower inside here. We're going to add the air from the production and put it in here as well, so we're going to increase the temperature. Probably that's going to increase the growth rate as well. I think we're gonna hit around 18 degrees in here when it's optimal. So that's gonna also increase the speed of how fast the mushroom grows. When it's really cold in here, like it is now, the mushrooms don't grow as fast. So this is a way to control. If you have a lot of mushrooms growing and you don't have any clients to sell them to, you can decrease the temperature inside the grow room, and in this way you can increase the shelf life on the mushrooms because they don't start growing too fast. So you can really just give them a little pause. It's the same with the microgreens. You can also do that. If you just decrease the temperature, they will grow not as fast, but the quality is still really good. Yeah, so this is the oyster mushrooms first harvest, and here we have the second harvest and the second flush on these ones. They've been here for a month now, so in a month we have been placing these bags in here. We are in the process of seeing, can we do 3 flushes on the bags? We don't know, but we're going to test it and we're going to find out if it's even possible. This is the second container. Inside this container the temperature is a bit higher, so as you see here, the color of the mushrooms actually shift. So in there they were a little more darker blue. In here you have a little gray, whitish color inside the mushrooms. So the temperature also affects the color of the mushroom, the growth rate and the color. So really, really great results we're getting with the bags now. We got into trouble because we didn't have the spawn rate high enough, and there was a lot of different things with the CO2 and the climate, but we fixed that. And now we are really moving on to a profitable oyster mushroom grow. So after operating this farm for 2 years, we took over a company, and now we just bought 8 new shipping containers. So within the next 6 weeks, there's gonna be 8 more shipping containers here, and we're gonna increase and ramp up the production to as much as we can. I think probably we're gonna do a lot of lion's mane and oysters. And we're gonna see if we're gonna test some reishi as well. Probably that's gonna be interesting to test. Last thing I have is I have the last container that's still growing. We're doing tests on different oyster mushroom varieties. So we're doing the nebrodensis, we're doing the yellow oyster, the pink oyster, and we're doing some different king oysters. That's gonna be in a future video where you can see the results.